Hello and welcome to Tracy Momi Reads. I am back again with another video. Today I'm going to be talking about the book Never Tell, and it is a book by the political dynamo Miss Stacey Abrams, writing as Selena Montgomery. So yeah, many of you probably know this because I reviewed another book of hers on the channel. I think it's called While Justice Sleeps. That's Stacey Abrams. Yes, this Stacey Abrams. Also is an author of fiction books. And previously she was writing under the pseudonym Selena Montgomery. But I think with her popularity, and I guess some people kind of pieced it together and they knew who she was or whatever, they've started adding her name, which is weird. You know, it's like just either you're going to be Selena Montgomery or Stacey Abrams. Like, I think a lot of people already know they're one and the same at this point. But Never Tell. Okay, this one was different from the previous book that I read by her. The previous book was steeped more in, like politics. There was a judge and some espionage and some secrets and all kind of stuff like that. But this particular book, it followed more, it was more of a mystery. It was more of a mystery book, but it was billed as like a romantic mystery because there was this relationship kind of in the background or whatever, which we'll talk about that more, but I don't know how I felt about that piece of it. So when the book opens in the prologue, there's a woman being attacked. You know, it is a pretty brutal attack. As far as, this man is like punching and kicking, hitting her. And you get the feeling when you're reading it that it's not the first time. Like, this person is abusive, like just from the things they're saying to her and, all of this stuff. And this person ends up being shot, right? So then the woman calls somebody to help her, dispose of the body, right? So that's off the jump, off the gate when the book opens. And so then we jump into the story, and there's this, another murder is taking place. Soon as the story opens, and it's like a woman coming from work and she's in her car and all this stuff. But it's not until after that chapter that we get to the main character of the book, or the heroine, if you will. And her name is Erin. For most of the book, her name is Erin. And she is a professor of criminology, but she has a specialty where she deals with the psychology of criminals and like how they commit crimes, why they commit crimes, and that kind of thing. So she is very specialized what she does, which comes in handy, for the plot of this book. And she actually gets a note from who we assume is the killer of the woman who died, like in the first chapter. Remember I told you at the beginning, there's a man beating a woman, he dies. Then in the first chapter, there's a woman that dies. Well, Erin gets a note about that woman. That's kind of the premise of the book. There's a serial killer on the loose, and for whatever reason, this person has decided to reach out to Erin, and you don't know it's because they have a connection, or if it's something else, maybe because of her profession, but they're reaching out to her. And it comes to find out that a lot of the things that they're doing in the breadcrumbs they're leaving and the way that things are operating, it's kind of connected to the man that died in the prologue. So as a reader, you're trying to figure out how all this is connected and what does this mean? And the thing that I thought was, clever, and I don't know, killing people, if that word can be used, but this person, they dub him the ABC murderer or killer or whatever, because he's using people's professions. Whatever the letter of their profession is the method in which he kills them with the same letter. Like, for example, there was an architect who died of asphyxiation, right? I can't even think of like some of the other stuff because it was so graphic, but it's things like that. That's how, if it's a bongo player, he died of bludgeoning, things like that like to make a correlation. There's a woman that works with Erin at the college whose brother has come back to town because he's running a fledgling newspaper and he needs a big story to keep the newspaper afloat or they're going to have to fold. And his name is Gabriel. So that's how Aaron and Gabriel meet. They're the main two characters of the story, hence the romance between these two, because even though Aaron is very apprehensive and really doesn't want to be working with Gabriel, the number one reason why she doesn't want to work with him is because he's a newspaper reporter. And, you know, by nature of the profession and as a part of their personalities, these people are very, like, you know, inquisitive, you know, very nosy. They want to dig into people's lives and figure out what's going on. And Erin doesn't want anybody digging around in her life and figuring out what's going on with her, because she is definitely hiding secrets. So she's, you know, very like, I don't need your help, Gabriel, go away. But she's also very attracted to him as he is to her. It's kind of like from their first meeting type thing, right? And while I really, like, I enjoyed the mystery part of it as Gabriel and Aaron, as well as the police once they get involved, you know, it's a race against the clock, because the longer it takes them to figure out who's committing these heinous, you know, murders, you know, more people, because I think they only get, they're at H, you know, like before they maybe catch this person. So all the time that they're like trying to spend finding this person, it's more people are dying. So there's that kind of thing, you know, going on in the main crust of the story, and how they're piecing together, okay, what was this person's occupation? This is how they died. And then, you know, Aaron's like, okay, how did that connect to, you know, this guy that died, or to me? So she's very smart, because it's like almost like a puzzle, you know. She's putting all that together so that they can catch this person. So I've really found that part of the story intriguing. Like, I'm just like, nobody is above suspicion. I even thought Gabriel did it at one point. But I'm going to tell you what I didn't like about Never Tell. What, to me, distracted from the story. And that was the relationship between Aaron and Gabriel. I mean, I know with most romance stories, there's that initial attraction between the two characters. And then you kind of build upon that. But because we were kind of, you know, more focused on catching a killer, I don't feel like there was really enough time or effort really put into building the relationship between the two of them. I mean, they were together a lot, but simply because they ended up deciding to go ahead and work together on the paper, because they were in New Orleans, and that's where, you know, Gabriel's from. He had a lot of connections there. So Aaron realized she'd probably get a lot further with his connections and him knowing people in the city than she would on her own, even though she was the one figuring out the clues and everything. But it was just kind of like, I mean, it's like, you know, when you're in school and you're thrown together with people on a class project, your number one goal is to get that paper done or that project done so you can get an A, right? Or at least a passing grade. Even if you have a crush on somebody, we don't really have time for that right now. We got to finish this thing. And so I think that there, a lot of the relationship between them, it seemed rushed and unrealistic. I personally felt like there were a lot of things that Gabriel was doing that gave me creeper vibes. And like, you know, for someone like Aaron, who was protecting her past and her actual identity and different things the way that she was, and for as long as she had, for her to just, you know, blindly trust this man, I don't know. It annoyed me several times. There's several different places within the book, and even like their conversation and the things that happened between them. Some of it to me was a little cringy. I just didn't buy it. It's like, you know, I've read stories, I mean, as I've talked about before, where you have these dominant, like, alpha males, you know, and how maybe they come across like telling these women that they're going to do stuff or whatever. But there's always this, I don't know, where the men kind of realize that, okay, that shit may have worked with the last woman, but it's not gonna work with me type thing. And they end up, kind of coming around and approaching things different with the women and respecting them and falling for them. To me, those stories were more believable in terms of the relationships than this one. And another thing, there was like a guy, an older man from Aaron's past who was a master manipulator. I mean, he basically just destroyed the person that she was, played on her insecurities, and just, just an awful situation. So again, I'm thinking having that also be your reality and your experience, falling for a lot of this corny shit that Gabriel was doing and saying, I just didn't feel like, all the buildup for this character of Aaron, that she would have, been attracted to that type of thing. And this is a spoiler with regards to their relationship, not the whodunit piece or the mystery piece. So if you don't want this spoiler, fast forward. What I cannot stand, like if you're watching a movie or something, and I mean, shit is going down, there's bullets flying, there's explosions, the bad guys are like right there, and you have this couple that they decide to give in to like their attraction and desire for each other in the middle of all this shit that's going on. Like, you want to kiss now and fool around now? And that's what happened in this story. There's killers on the loose. Like, there's stuff going on, and they, there's a bunch of people. Like, he had an apartment over his newspaper, and all these people are downstairs because they're trying to get this newspaper out, because they're trying to draw the person out, right? And they're upstairs doing all this stuff. And yeah, and just the way that whole scene, the way that it was written, it was painful. It was painful. I don't think that is an area. I don't know if Stacey Abrams or Selena Montgomery, if she's written like just straight romance stories before. And if she has, I have not read one of them, but just based on the piece that she had in this book, I would venture to say that's not a strong area for her of writing romance stories or injecting that type of stuff into a novel. It was, that if that would not have been in this book, and that's the only reason why, because I've said that before about how I don't like necessarily trashing books or like giving negative reviews. I mean, obviously, I've read a lot of books, and there are a lot of books that maybe I didn't finish, or there are a lot of books that I just didn't end up liking them, even though I powered through them. Because I am an author, and because I know how that works, I have read books that have been glorified by the masses. They just thought they were just great works of fiction and great works, literary works. And I thought they were trash. So my opinion and my review of a book is just that, just like the next person. So, as an author, when you put your work out there, you don't know how it's going to be received. I mean, unless you are writing the same book basically over and over, or if it's a series or something, and you've already kind of solidified an audience or a fan base that's really, excited about anything you do, and they're going to be supportive regardless. But as new people come in contact to your work, I mean, it's a roll of the dice. They may love it. They may absolutely hate it. And it a lot of times may not have anything specifically to do with you as a writer, as meaning that you're not talented, right? It just maybe has something to do that it's just not their cup of tea, or maybe that particular book wasn't your best, or whatever. It's just all kinds of reasons. So you just really gotta have thick skin when you decide to write a book, because I will tell you, good or bad, it's not for the faint of heart. It's not easy. It requires a lot of dedication. It requires a very brilliant and creative mind to be able to, you're just making up a whole story of a whole conversation, a whole incident, a whole world. And it's, I'm proud to be a member of that club and feel like, I do a decent job, and I feel like I put out decent work. But there's, somebody that may be like, what is this? What's this trash or whatever? And they're entitled to their opinions. I personally don't think it's necessary to do that on a large platform or do that on any platform. If you didn't like something, why do you want to talk about it? You know what I mean? Why do you want to talk about it? And like I said, I enjoyed this book, everything but that piece of it. So, for people, and there are a lot of people who don't necessarily like really graphic, or gratuitous, sex scenes or, things like that in books between characters, or maybe they don't like books with a lot of bad language. And this book doesn't have that, right? Because the scene that she wrote between the two of them, a lot of big words, a lot of innuendo and things like that, but it wasn't graphic by any measure. I just felt like the time, place, and the way she chose to do all of that, I didn't personally like it. It wasn't for me, but it did not detract, because it was such a small piece of this story. It didn't detract from the story that she was trying to tell. I didn't like them as a couple, didn't buy them as a couple, but I thought they worked very well together. They were both very smart. And, Erin's mind was brilliant in how she put things together. And for that reason alone is why I'm talking about it on the channel, because it is something that I would recommend to someone. Books that I just could not find any redeeming qualities about, I'm never going to talk about them on my channel. Because why? When people log on to watch one of my videos, I'm hoping that they're excited to see what I thought about a book that maybe they were thinking about reading, or maybe they want to compare notes, or, just to see if they were way off. One thing you can rest assured, any book that actually makes it to my channel, to some degree, I enjoyed it. There was something about it that I found worthwhile enough to actually, spend time talking about it. I'm not going to spend my time talking about books that I didn't like from start to finish. If it, had some really amazing scenes with just one little thing, or one kind of thing was off, then yeah, I'm going to talk about it. So that's what I did with Never Tell. So having said all of that, the last thing I will say about this book, the ending, I mean, the person was there all along. However, I'm still sitting with whether or not it was believable for me, or plausible for me. I mean, it made sense, and it wrapped everything up nicely with a little bow. So, you can't ask for more than that, right? But anyway, if you have read Never Tell, me and all my rambling here, what did you think about it? I mean, am I far off? Or did you really think that Gabriel and Erin were a match made in heaven? I would seriously love to know your thoughts in the comments. So that's it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you like this video and go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much to everyone who has already subscribed. And make sure that you hit that post notification bell and share this with anyone who you think may enjoy my content. Thanks so much. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.